And another team that I have zero concern about at this point, and I imagine the head coach is feeling the same way, it's got to be the San Angelo Central Bobcats, the Angry Orange. They played angry on Friday night when they took on Abilene, and they hosted the Eagles. And we are now here to talk about it. We are now pleased to be joined by the head coach of the San Angelo Central Bobcats, is Coach Brent Davis. Coach, congratulations on your big win.
Thank you.
How, going into that game, I know that that's a rivalry game, and I know you've got to keep your kids calm down, but what was your impression of your kids going into that game as far as their mindset and their attitude was concerned?
Well, I mean, we were ready. We've been preparing for them ever since two-a-days started, really even in the spring, and knowing it was our first game, and we wanted to, we needed to get back with them a little bit from last year. They were the only team that beat us in the regular season, and it's always been a big rivalry for us. And then we were honoring our 1966 state championship team, and they were there and on the field with us. So it was a big game for us, and our kids were, handled it that way.
What kind of it's a silly question to ask when you guys win 63-26, but what in particular was working for you guys on this particular night?
Well, I mean, our quarterback just played unbelievable. Cal Vinson, he had 3 touchdowns rushing and 3 touchdowns throwing, and over 250 yards rushing and over 280 throwing. So, he just had a great night. Our offense clicked on all cylinders, and our defense did too. I mean, we gave up 26, but really we only gave up 14 because the rest of it was in the fourth quarter whenever we had our backups in. So our defense played really well against a great running back and a great quarterback that Abilene High has. And I just think we chalk it up to the fact that we've been preparing for this game since last spring, and I think that showed.
You mentioned your quarterback, Cal Vinson. Folks who may not be familiar with your program may not know that this was his first game starting at quarterback. He takes over. And were you surprised with how well he played?
I really wasn't. He's been a quarterback in our system since the 7th grade, and we've always known he was going to be really good. But he was going to start for us last year, and then Brennan Wooten moved in, and he's at TCU now, and Brennan's a great quarterback. So we played Cal at receiver, and he was an all-district receiver, first-team all-district receiver last year in our playing slot for us. But our plans were always to put him back at quarterback his senior year, and we see that in practice every day. And he's a super smart kid. He's ranked 12 out of 730 kids in his class. So he's got it all. He's an athlete. He's got a great arm. He's really smart, and he's a great leader for our football team.
And needless to say, you mentioned it. We mentioned it earlier with the scoreline may in fact be a little bit deceiving. You guys give up 12 points in the fourth quarter that really make it more of a cosmetic score for Abilene. But I imagine you don't have too many qualms with what your defense did on Friday night.
No, I thought our defense played extremely well. Maybe the best. I told our kids after the game, I said, that's the best we've played as a football team, offense, defense, special teams, against a really good football team since I've been here in the 7. Well, this is my 8th year, going on 8. We've performed that way against teams that weren't Abilene's caliber, but we've never dominated a team of Abilene's caliber before. It's always been really close games against good football teams, which is the way it normally is. But last Friday, we just kind of hit on everything at the same time, and it's kind of a perfect storm for us.
Is there a sense of unfinished business because of the way that things worked out last year in the playoffs? Seems like you guys were right on the cusp of a really deep playoff run. It gets cut short. Is there a sense of unfinished business in that locker room?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think I don't know that we call it that, but we have our program at a level where we want to be competitive with Region 1. The elite in Region 1, and we're almost there. I mean, we are so close. Last year, playing Guy right down at the end. And, what a great program that is, and it has been. And, I think we surprised them a little bit, but we didn't finish it. And we do want to get to that level. 6A Region 1 is as tough as it gets in the state of Texas. And we're trying to be one of those teams in that region that people talk about, and I think we're on the verge of doing that.
We're talking with Brent Davis, the head coach of the San Angelo Central Bobcats here on DCTF Live. Get involved in the conversation at hashtag DCTF Live. And, Coach, you guys sure loaded up in your non-district schedule. From Abilene, now you're going to take on an up-and-coming Trophy Club Byron Nelson team. Then you travel, take on Kerrville-Tivy, and close it out with Colleen Shoemaker. I guess two questions. First of all, why schedule non-district that way? And then the other side, you're traveling to DFW, and then you're also traveling down to the San Antonio area. Why get on the road and travel? I know geography isn't kind to you guys, but at the same time, why is it so important to get on the road and maybe take these long road trips?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons for it. Number one reason is there's all the 6As that are around us. We're in the district with them. There's only 7 6As from El Paso to Fort Worth. So you got to go play somebody, and you're going to have to travel. And I don't want to play teams that we can dominate. I want to play teams like Abilene and the ones you mentioned that are going to give us a game that we can get better, and see where our weaknesses are and what we need to work on and all the things that you're going to have to know to go to district and then also in the playoffs. And the other reason we like to travel and play good teams is, it stimulates what you got to do in the playoffs. I mean, when you get in the playoffs, you're going to have to travel and you're going to have to play really good teams. So we got to, do that now so we'll know what it's like. Speaking
of district play, it's obviously still a little bit away, but it's never too early to be talking about the little Southwest Conference. You guys, once again, out there with so many traditional powers, the Odessas, the Permians, now you add folks like Wolforth, Friendship. When you take a look at your district 2-6A, what do you see?
Well, I think it's extremely tough. I mean, if you look at this past week, everybody won but Odessa High. Mm-hmm. And, every other school in our district won, and a lot of them won big. And so it's going to be tough, man. I know Midland Lee's got it, kind of heading back in the right direction. And Permian, they've been good for a while now, and they're just kind of, continuing their dominance. They played a great Vandergrift team and beat them by 1 point and at Vandergrift, which is always tough to do. And Tascosa, Coach Plunk up there has got it going on the last few years. He's got them, in the playoffs every year. They beat Permian last year in the playoffs. And Friendship's always a perennial power. They've been doing it forever, and they're coming up to 6A the last couple of years and kind of getting used to that competition. So I think they'll be tremendously better this year too. So it's just going to, it's going to be that way every Friday. You got to show up and you got to play well. Usually the team that makes the least amount of mistakes in these district games is going to win it.
Talking with Brent Davis, the head coach of the San Angelo Central Bobcats here on DCTF Live. Get involved in the conversation at hashtag DCTF Live. And, Coach, one more question, then we'll let you get back to preparing for Byron Nelson. A question from our friend Adam Bodecker at the Denton Record Chronicle. He's interested in knowing what your favorite Mexican food restaurant in San Angelo is.
That's easy. My favorite food, Mexican food here in San Angelo is Hidalgo's, man. It's a little dive of a place off of Avenue Bryant, South Bryant, but they got by far the best Mexican food place or food in this place.
What's your go-to order?
Oh, you got to get the Acapulco special.
Okay,
all right.
You heard it here first.
Now
guys.
we know.
Here in San Angelo, you go by there and tell them get the Acapulco special and tell them Coach Davis sent you.
There you go. That's
They know me. They know me in there pretty well.
Little inside information from the head coach of the 1-0 San Angelo Central Bobcats, Coach Brent Davis. Coach, really appreciate your time. Congratulations once again, and best of luck this week.
All right. Thanks, man.